There's this really counterintuitive trap in trading. It's a moment that feels like you're on top of the world, but it's actually hiding a massive, massive risk. We're going to talk about why your biggest triumph, a winning streak, might just be your most dangerous moment.
We've all been there, right? The pain of a losing streak. It's brutal. But let me ask you a question. What if I told you there's something out there that's even more hazardous to your trading account?
You guessed it, a winning streak. And this isn't about the market suddenly turning on you. Nope. This is about a predictable, psychological trap that we set for ourselves when things are going just a little too well.
It all starts with what I like to call the three-trade illusion. It's that incredible high, that feeling that you finally cracked the code.
Just picture this. You've just closed your third profitable trade in a row. It feels like you've got the Midas touch. Everything you look at seems to work. Your analysis is sharp, your timing is perfect. The market is practically bending to your will.
And here's the paradox, the really crazy part. That feeling of being a market genius, standing right there at the peak of your confidence, that is the exact moment you are at your most vulnerable. Your greatest strength suddenly becomes your biggest weakness.
So how on earth does this happen? Well, the trap isn't out there in the market, it's right here, inside our own heads. Our brain has this fascinating and in this case pretty dangerous way of distorting reality.
This is a classic cognitive shortcut called short-term bias. See, our brains are wired to put a huge magnifying glass on whatever just happened. So those 3 recent wins, they feel massive. They feel more significant, more real, and way more predictive of the future than the hundreds of trades that came before them.
And this bias, it leads to something even more dangerous, a full-blown identity crisis. You start to forget who you are and what your job is supposed to be in the first place. As analyst Vignesh Dharmaraj points out, to succeed in the market, you have to be crystal clear about which of these 3 hats you're wearing at any given time. Are you a trader, focusing on process, a speculator, betting on an outcome, or an investor, focusing on long-term ownership?
And this is the absolute core of the problem. The biggest mistakes, the most catastrophic losses, they don't happen because we're not smart enough. They happen when we unconsciously switch roles without even realizing it. We start mixing behaviors that just don't belong together.
And here's where that winning streak does its real damage. A disciplined trader, after a few easy wins, looks in the mirror and suddenly sees a speculator staring back. You stop thinking you're following a system, and you start believing you can actually predict the future. This identity crisis leads right to the most critical mistake you can make. You trade your working system for an emotional feeling. You swap what actually works for what just feels good in the moment. Let's really break this down. A trader's mindset is all about control. They follow a process, they define their risk before they ever get in. They'll say, my system says to exit right here, so that's what I'm doing. A speculator, on the other hand, operates on conviction. They're following a story, a narrative. They're the ones saying, I just know this is going higher. I'll just ignore my stop loss this one time.
That intoxicating feeling of overconfidence from your winning streak makes you drop the steering wheel, your process, your risk management, and you pick up a crystal ball instead. You stop managing what you can control and start betting on what you can't.
And here is the ultimate mind-bending paradox. The strict rules, the disciplined risk management, the humble process that actually created your success, that is the very first thing your newfound ego tells you to throw in the trash. You convince yourself that this time is different, that the old rules don't apply to you anymore. You start to see your own winning system as a set of training wheels you've just outgrown.
So, if winning is so darn dangerous, how do you survive it? How do you protect your strategy from your own success? Well, the good news is there is a clear antidote. It's really all about getting back to first principles. First, you have to consciously reconfirm your role. Ask yourself, am I trading my system right now, or am I just speculating on a feeling? Second, you have to respect your rules. Your system isn't a suggestion, it's your shield against your own emotions. And third, shift your focus. Stop thinking about the profit from the last trade and focus on the process of the next one. Meticulous execution is what matters, not the last outcome.
Ultimately, surviving your own success and building a truly sustainable career in these markets, it all comes down to answering one simple but brutally honest question before every single trade you take. Because the moment your ego takes the wheel, you've already lost control.